On the 9th of April 1940, Germany invaded and then later that day occupied Denmark. In this video we're going to learn a little bit more about that invasion. We're going to visit a nearby fortress that was built during German occupation, and we're going to head out to the coastal areas to see if we can find some of Hitler's Atlantic Wall bunker system that is very prominent here in Jutland. Before that though, I am starting out at a viewpoint that overlooks the town of Frederikshavn. The viewpoint is called Pikkerbakken, and there is a walkway that you can follow to get the best views of the town below possible. There's also a wooden bench system set up so you can sit and admire the scenery, the 10-ton king stone built into the concrete, and a nice little wooded park area where you can bring along a picnic and enjoy the quiet. Speaking of quiet, there is a military base very close to the old fortress that we're going to drive to in just a second. So if you can hear explosions and firing, then that will be the Danish army practicing, I hope. Right, let's get in the car and we're going to drive to the fortress. And following a short forested drive, I've arrived at the hilltop fortress of Bangsbo. And you can see the white building behind me there. That is where you'll find the ticket office and reception. I've just been inside and bought myself a ticket for 100 Danish kroner. That is about 12 pounds sterling, about 14 euros. And that gives me access to all of the bunkers and facilities that are here. It's quite a large site. The only section that I can't go into is the active military zone that is over on my left now. So the car park is just around there. It is free parking, and here is the ticket office that I was just talking about. I have got a mobile phone and a wallet holding down the map of the site just to give you an idea of what's about here at Bangsbo Fort. We have 70 of 80 bunkers built during the Second World War. The other 10 were built afterwards for the Cold War, and they are divided into museum bunkers, which are these ones mostly around here, so they have lots of displays and information in, and then visitor-friendly bunkers, these blue ones dotted on the hillside. You can go in them and see what they are like. Start out by heading into the most important bunker here in the fort, and that is Bunker 14, the command bunker. This is where all the decisions would have been made. This is where the commander of the fort would have worked. So let's go and see what the conditions are like in here and what functions we have. It is really interesting to see. Obviously heavily fortified. It is a bunker after all. We have through here, I'm guessing this is where a lot of the decisions about the site would have been made. The so-called map room. There we go, we've got a map on the table there. You can see soldiers and commanders, high-ups in the German military would have been stationed right here, looking at all these maps, perhaps trying to work out how to maintain their occupation of Denmark, maybe invade other countries around it. There's Denmark right there. Norway, the invasion of Norway came from Denmark, so that all tied in. But there were lots of other ideas, I'm sure, in the high command. And also, look here, it's communication devices. The commander here would have been able to communicate with many other military leaders of the German army. We've got a film going on in that section of the bunker. The Germans essentially had a catalogue of different bunkers, about 250, that you could choose from. So if you wanted a bunker being built, you would choose the type of bunker from the catalogue that you wanted. Let's say a command bunker or a medical bunker, and then you would hire local contractors to come in and follow the plans of that bunker from the catalogue. So the contractors would come in, they would build the bunker in a week or a month or however long it took. Lots of pressure going on from the German army, I'm sure. And also the contractors would usually be local workers. So I suspect the people that built these bunkers would have been local Danes who were forced into building these bunkers following the specifications of that catalogue book. In here is the ventilation room, and you can see the ventilation equipment there. Usually it would be powered by electric, but in case of an electric cut, it could also be powered by hand. There was also shutters built into the bunker, which would close solid if there was a gas attack in the area. The German army's uniforms right there. Different uniforms for different purposes, of course. In here, maybe some remnants of items found here in this bunker, perhaps after the occupation ended. We've got more weapons over here on show, and then plenty of knives and handguns, even a machine gun there as well. The commander's desk, he'd probably be sitting there looking at his picture of Adolf Hitler, working out what his next move would be. Right, let's go have a look inside bunker 15. This is the medical service bunker, so essentially the hospital of the fort. In here is where wounded and injured soldiers would have come for treatment and recovery. It was essentially a hospital bunker. The German invasion of Denmark happened very quickly in three main areas. Copenhagen, the south of the Jutland Peninsula as Germany meets Denmark, and also Aalborg because of its strategic importance to attacking Norway. Denmark was a strategic decision, essentially. The ultimate goal of Germany was to invade Norway because of two reasons. One, if they had Norway, they would have open access to the seas surrounding it, so it would make ship warfare much easier against the Allied powers. But also, Norway exported a lot of iron ore, and it would be easier to get that directly from Norway through Denmark and into Germany. And we're back out into daylight. Before we head away, I just thought I would head up the side of the bunker. I thought I saw an opening, but it is blocked off. Thought that was going to lead me into a different section of the bunker. There's another section here. I'm guessing this is also blocked off. Or not, actually. We've got some steps. What do? Do we go up? Of course we do. Let's go and have a look. Very narrow. Some kind of observation post. I just got to be careful I don't hit my head. There we go. Some kind of observation area where perhaps soldiers would stand guard waiting for enemies to come, just in case. It's pretty cramped in here. And there's some kind of little recess there. But yeah, interesting to see. Right, let's head to the next bunker. So many of the bunkers here on site tell a story of something that happened either during the Second World War or during the Cold War, and this bunker is no exception. This bunker here was originally built as a personnel bunker for 20 soldiers. This one tells the story of a secret oil pipeline that was installed between here and Germany during the Cold War. That pipeline was officially called the North European Pipeline System. It included 650 kilometres of pipes. It crossed over 2,000 landowners' plots, and it went through hundreds of fjords, streams, railways, and cost over 30 billion Danish kroner in today's money. There are some really interesting artifacts and displays and maps showing the pipeline and its history. You can also see sections of the pipeline here inside this bunker. Right, I think we're going to head back outside again. Every fort needs an ammunition storage unit, and that's what this is. I'm not going to show you all the bunkers because there's so many here, just the ones that I find interesting. This was the ammunition bunker, so very secure, very fireproof, you would think. This is where they kept all of the bullets and shells that would have been used for the weapons here. We have a good old-fashioned gun bunker. Let's head down, and whilst I do so, I think I might have mentioned it earlier, but let's talk about why this fort was built in the first place. It was built because the Germans wanted to protect and keep Frederikshavn, which is just below me here. A really important port town where Sweden is just across the other side of the sea. We've got the rest of Denmark over in that direction, and then Norway to the north, so it made a really strategically important port to get up to Norway in particular. This is the gun bunker, as I said. Now, the question is, we're about 60 meters above the sea, by the way, so we've got a fantastic vantage point to look down on the enemies perhaps coming in. This right here is open, so the question is, do we go down and take a look? There's a message here saying it's best to walk backwards. It is extremely steep. Okay, the light has come on, so we're all good. We're going to try and head down here, and soldiers would have been here in 1944, and then after that this was used in the Cold War. It was kept active, of course. Let's have a look in this direction. Not much going on now, but fascinating to see nonetheless. Right, let's see if we can climb back up. We've got a turret to find. Found the largest gun bunker that I've seen so far on site. It is massive. Look at the size of that. We can get up as well to take a closer inspection of it. Down these steps here. Hopefully they don't collapse. There we go. We are now behind the scenes. So I'm guessing that in these chambers right here that are now flooded out, and through these holes as well, actually, the ammunition for the gun would have been fed. There's perhaps a tray, maybe I've got that wrong, but some kind of tray there from the back quarter, and then the ammunition would have been fed straight into the gun itself. Look at this, what an incredible piece of kit. It is a little bit worse for wear these days, but I bet it could still do a decent job should you shine it up a little bit and make it more current. Out on the other side, the soldier would have been firing, and look at that for a perspective over where you're defending. We are high up, about 50 meters at the moment, and there is the town and the sea below us, the port's in the distance. Right, it is time to talk about the Atlantic Wall. So, in the 1940s, during the Second World War, the Germans were very worried that there was going to be some kind of Allied response, Allied invasion coming from probably the United Kingdom. They just didn't know when it was going to happen, and they just didn't know for sure where. So between 1942 and 1944, Hitler decided that he wanted to build a massive series of fortifications along the coastline of France, Belgium, the Netherlands, Germany, Denmark, and up into Norway to lower the chances of a successful Allied invasion. This so-called Atlantic Wall was made up of bunkers, towers, watch posts, artillery sections, and just about anything else that Hitler could use to slow down his enemies. The fortifications were built mostly from forced labour, and they were built very, very quickly and as cheaply as they possibly could. The Atlantic Wall was built mostly by forced labourers, and its total length from France up into Norway was over 1,600 miles, so over 2,500 kilometres. We are just climbing now to the top of the bunker, and if I can make it up there, I'll show you the views across. Look at that reinforced roof on top of the bunker. We might be able to get round this way actually. I'll just squeeze around if I can. The wind is blowing a bit, so I want to be as careful as I can as well. But there we go, we are now on top of the bunker here. Look at this incredible view across the coastal region of northern Denmark. I'm going to call it a day with the video. Thanks very much for watching. Hopefully you have learned something, as I have, by visiting this museum. It is an incredible place to come and learn about the fortress and about the invasion of Denmark during the Second World War. I'm going to get back on the road now. The North Jutland road trip continues. Consider subscribing if you would like to see more, but hopefully I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.